people need to have a reason to stick around, whether it's being entertained, whether it's baseball game, whether it's just great community. And so he sought out to create just this perfect mesh of high energy, high impact, high paced baseball by combining all the exciting elements of a baseball game and then injecting entertainment from a music standpoint, from a comedy standpoint, from a positive family friendly, environment standpoint. And he brought those two together and it worked.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Clearing the Bases, the podcast where we step up to the plate and dive deep into the world of youth baseball. I'm your host, Jimmy Filangieri. On this show, we discuss all things related to the preparation and development of youth baseball players, coaches, and yes, even parents. So sit back, settle in, and get ready to hear from some of the greatest baseball minds out there.
Our recruiting process is a little different than just saying, that guy's got the tools. Oh, I like that lefty with a lot of movement. I like this guy, he moves well. Sure, those things are a factor and a very important factor, but it's just one of a much larger rubric that we follow to identify players to bring them into our organization.
Okay, everybody. I usually say that we have a special guest tonight, and this is a special guest of a different kind. We're going to go into some stuff tonight that is going to be, we'll say, down a different path than we usually go. Tonight, we have the Director of Baseball Operations at the Savannah Bananas, Adam Virant. And he is also a speaker, a coach, a consultant, where he talks about culture, leadership, coaching, sports business, and sports management. And the culture and the leadership and the coaching parts are very dear to my heart. But before we go bananas with Adam, let's hear a few words about the 6-Tool app.
For baseball coaches like you, every game brings measurable progress. However, game time isn't the time for trial and error learning. Instead, have a proactive approach. Use 6-Tool, the best baseball player development tool on the market. We provide a platform to level up your coaching strategy by helping you to quickly identify and address your players' knowledge of the game. By using our easy-to-implement interactive player quizzes, you can assess position-specific issues, overall baseball IQ, and much more. Win more games and develop better overall baseball players with effective off-the-field training. Visit us at 6-tool.com. 6-Tool. Get ahead in the game.
Welcome to the show, Adam.
Jimmy, thanks for having me on, buddy. Appreciate it.
So, a couple of weeks ago, we were at the ABCA convention, and I was talking to Justin Sherman, who is Just in Time Baseball, who was also on the show. And Justin introduced me to Adam. I thought it would be a great idea to bring him on the show because, look, let's face it, those of you that know about the Savannah Bananas know that it's a different brand of baseball, and we're going to get it straight from the top here. So talk to us a little bit. Tell us about first let's start a little bit, your baseball career. You grew up in Omaha. How did it go from there?
Yeah, absolutely. So fired up to be here, Jimmy. I grew up in a little suburb of Omaha, Nebraska called Papillion, and I had a fantastic upbringing and childhood from a baseball standpoint because I got the opportunity to watch what's called the College World Series that comes into Omaha every single year. And so my energy was just fired up to become a big league ball player by going to the College World Series every single year and seeing teams from around the country that you don't, growing up in my day, you didn't have the opportunity to see all these teams from Texas and Louisiana and Cal State Fullerton and whatnot. And so, you got to learn a different brand of baseball, and it was really, really cool for me. I literally learned everything I possibly, brought to my youth game and my amateur game at the College World Series, as much as like learning how to wear my hat and my uniform. And it was such a fantastic, upbringing, and really fired me up to want to become a big leaguer and kind of chase the dream that so many of us have chased. And that led me to playing at Fort Scott Junior College. I was a little undersized coming out of high school, but I was pretty fast, had a strong arm, I could really hit. And so I went to a junior college, Fort Scott, and that got me to grow up really, really quickly. And we were talking earlier that when I talk to people about coming out of high school, do they want to go D1, where they want to go? If they're a little undersized or they're not developed yet, I always kind of say, don't rule out going to junior college. You'll get an opportunity to play. You'll get thrown to the wolves very, very quickly. And I had a great 2 years down at Fort Scott, and that led me to George Mason University, where I was a catcher. I was there for a year and a half before I had a career-ending injury, which made me grow up very, very quickly and figure it out, because I had no plan B, only plan A, getting to the big leagues. That didn't happen. And I thought my career was over at that time until I moved back to Omaha, and I got a phone call from Bellevue University's coach, NAIA powerhouse at the time, and he said, "You have one more year of eligibility. Why don't you come on out?" And I did. We made it to the World Series for the NAIA again. Ended up breaking my arm again, and it was over with, my friend. And so,
poor guy.
I had to get a job really quick. Started waiting tables and working at a golf country club there in Omaha, and that was my baseball career in a nutshell, not including coaching.
Well, I got to tell you, the JUCO part of it appeals to me, and I believe that JUCO, I've been a proponent of that for years, and really now with the landscape of college baseball changing the way it is, I believe that a lot of high school players are really going to have no other option, and JUCO is going to become highly competitive to get a spot.
No doubt. I think they have that rule that got introduced where your 2 years or any of your time at junior college doesn't start the clock at NCAA school. So, man, that is such a real cool opportunity for some players to develop. It's going to be interesting to see how it affects that kind of gap year that a lot of these kids are going to these kind of prep schools.
Yeah.
Whether you're going to see a decline in that. It's also going to be interesting to see how it affects reclassification, quite frankly.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I just had a conversation with a friend about that the other day, because his son is going to a post-grad school. And I said that, had this been maybe a year or two later, maybe he wouldn't have gone there. He would have gone to a JUCO.
It's got real interesting ramifications because, with the carousel at the D1 level with the transfer portal, you can go to that junior college, and I don't know. I think it's going to make the game better. I do love that some of these junior college kids are not going to get caught in that transfer portal, bringing a whole brand new team in, and now all of a sudden you're out. So hopefully there's some real positive benefits of it, but time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to get back to your story in a second, but I can tell you that one positive outcome from that I'm hoping is going to happen is that, because it seems to be pushing everything down, that maybe, just maybe, it's going to bring back community-based baseball, Little League and Cal Ripken, where the travel scene may go away, because there's really there'll become less of a need for it. And, maybe that community, I'm hoping that that's what happens.
We'll see. Certainly, that's an interesting notion. I'm sure the travel baseball juggernauts out there are trying to figure out how to hold on to as many teams and tournaments as they possibly can.
Yeah, I think travel ball may become something where only college players are playing some type of travel ball, because, like you said, you can have all these guys in the portal. Well, during the summer, if you're able to play in some type of highly competitive baseball, then maybe the coaches will go there and watch those guys to see who they want. Where now they're going in there looking for high school kids. They're not going to look at high school kids anymore.
Right.
So anyway, I think it's going to change. But anyway, let's get back to your story, because I could rant about that forever. So okay, so you were waiting tables, right?
I was waiting tables, trying to figure it out, and while I was working at this private club, there was these younger guys, like 20, 30-year-olds coming in, playing golf around 1, 2, 3 o'clock on a weekday. And I was like, man, you know what? I'd like to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. And, talking with some of these guys, they're entrepreneurs or doctors or lawyers or CPAs, whatever it were. And I was like, hey, you know what? There's this movie out right now, Jerry Maguire. Tom Cruise glorified what it meant to be a sports agent. And I was like, you know what? I think I might be able to do that. And so, yeah, I enrolled in law school, and my goal was to become a sports agent so I could stay close to the game. Graduated law school, passed the New York State Bar, never became a sports agent, but I practiced law for 10 years, labor and employment on the plaintiff side, prosecuting Title VII cases, civil rights cases, and I learned a lot. I really learned a lot. The number one thing I did learn was I didn't like being a lawyer. I didn't like the profession, very tough profession. It just wasn't for me. God bless all the lawyers out there, but it wasn't for me. And so I needed to figure out a new path in life. And my father really helped me. He said, listen, Adam, he was a professor in college. My uncle was a high school teacher. And he said, you like teaching and you like baseball. Why don't you go to be a professor or a teacher in school and then also coach? And I said, perfect. And then he said something to me that I'm so glad he did. And he said, you know what, Adam, I think that you're going to get more of a reward by helping younger players, helping the amateur players, because you really have a way of connecting with people and providing a certain compassion. And, why don't you try that? Because I think that will benefit the youth game, and you can kind of achieve what you want to achieve by helping people a lot better. And so I'm glad I did. So I got a job at this Upper East Side Youth Athletic Association called Yorkville. At the time, a guy named Nate Fish hired me. He's now one of my best friends in the world. And right off the bat, I got in the cage. I started helping players. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea, right? It was like watching. My dad bought me this Jose Canseco. It was a VHS tape back in the 80s, and it was like Jose Canseco hitting, and it was literally just him putting a ball on a tee and destroying a baseball, and then telling a kid, yeah, just do that. But I really learned how to communicate. I learned how to connect with kids. I learned how to motivate, and that really was an amazing journey. I did youth baseball in New York City for about 11 years. Loved every element of it. I coached 6-year-olds all the way up to 18-year-olds, and even some college level players. And then eventually I had an opportunity to join the Savannah Bananas in 2021 when Nate Fish, who hired me, got the job for the One City World Tour. It's the first time the Savannah Bananas were going to take the show on the road. Jesse Cole and Emily Cole, his wife, and Jared Orton, the president, they said, how are we going to sustain ourselves the rest of the year when all we do is summer collegiate baseball? So in 2016, the Bananas started as a summer college league in the Coastal Plains League. And they were only in business for 2.5 months, and then they were kind of waiting around selling tickets for the next season, and that wasn't a real sustainable business model. And so they said, how can we take the show on the road? We have something here. We have entertainment. We have a style of baseball that people love. And so they created the One City World Tour. We went down to Mobile, Alabama, and sold it out, two great games. And then we realized, wow, this is a thing. And then it started just growing from there. And I've been here ever since. Held many jobs, worn many hats, literally, and now I have an opportunity to help run and develop the game of banana ball, help run this baseball department or the banana ball department, but more importantly, help these new players and our staff grow the Savannah Bananas and the great thing that everybody sees coming from city to city.
The first thing that comes to mind when you said that, you went from being a lawyer to going and coaching, youth baseball players, and none of us knew what we were doing when we first started coaching. I started out in 1983 coaching. I had no idea what I was doing. It's all of us.
I was fortunate. I was fortunate to learn from a lot of great people. I've had a lot of great mentors, and I just literally, like coaches, I stole so many, methods and verbiage from these coaches, and then I kind of, as I got a little bit better at it, I kind of discarded what wasn't really working or really effective, and I started really having a good message, But yeah, it's good to hear that I'm not the only one who had no clue what they were doing when they started coaching baseball.
As you can imagine, I talk to a lot of coaches. I talk to a lot of high-level coaches, and they all say the same thing, that none of us knew. And then the other thing, too, that to your point, we all steal from everyone. I know I do. Anything I can find that I think is going to help my players become better, I'm stealing it. I don't care.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And we met in the frozen tundra of Washington D.C. Just last month at the ABCA, 8,000 coaches, and yeah, I encourage anybody who is new in the coaching industry that may feel like they have an imposter syndrome, go to that ABCA and just go to any of those rooms and listen to those people. Ask questions at the end of those sessions, because we all want to help. The great thing about coaches is we're basically teachers. We're educators. And so the baseball coaches community is a really nice fraternity. There's a lot of good ones out there, and a lot of them at ABCA, certainly.
Yeah. Let's go back to Banana Bowl a little bit. Give us the essence of Banana Bowl for those people out there that really don't know what it is.
Absolutely. So Jesse Cole sought out to make baseball fun. And while I think the game of baseball is fun, for a lot of people it's not, whether it's players or even the fans. And so what Jesse realized was attendance at baseball games, participation in baseball was dropping, and he was trying to figure out why. And one of the reasons that he identified were the games are long, the games are slow, they're not very entertaining, they're not for everybody. If you're a diehard baseball fan and you grew up in a baseball family or community, yeah, you can sit down at a Mets game in April and love it, right? There's not a lot of those people out there. And so people need to have a reason to stick around, whether it's being entertained, whether it's baseball game, whether it's just great community. And so he sought out to create just this perfect mesh of high energy, high impact, high paced baseball by combining all the exciting elements of a baseball game, and then injecting entertainment from a music standpoint, from a comedy standpoint, from a positive family friendly, environment standpoint. And he brought those two together, and it worked. What we've seen is Banana Ball, Savannah Bananas, and all of our other teams, we're bringing full families back to the ballpark where they can enjoy this night out, and they're all going to have a unique experience. So think about this. So if you have husband and wife and a daughter and a son may be a baseball guy, and he's going to love seeing our baseball players, and the dad may too. The daughter may love Taylor Swift or music or dancing, and the mother may love a little bit of all of that. And the cool thing about we call them shows. The cool thing about our shows is there's something for everybody, and everybody has a unique experience through the blend of entertainment and the brand of baseball called Banana Ball that we bring, and wrap it all together. Additionally, one of the big components is we break down the wall between player and fan. And we saw that being one of the biggest generators of support by creating this fans first mentality, by creating a connection with our fans, real connection. And so one of the things that we do is before the game even opens up, we have entertainment kicking off. It's like a festival, and it kicks off, and it's called rope drop, and there's before the peel, and it's before the gates open, and there's music and there's entertainment our players come out and they sign autographs before the gates even open up. So you have an opportunity to meet your favorite banana ball player, whether it's Coach Rack or Jackson Olsen or DR Meadows or Jake Skoll, whoever may be. This is you basically have this great experience for 2 hours before the gates even open. Gates open, and then right at 6 o'clock, if it's a 7 o'clock start, right at 6 o'clock, the entertainment starts on the field. Amazing promos, amazing just entertainment happening. And then 7 o'clock hits, and the game begins, and it's showtime. And we bring a brand of baseball that has never happened before. We get compared to the Harlem Globetrotters a lot because of a lot of the trick plays and a lot of the entertainment and creativity that we bring, and that is probably the ultimate compliment. We are different than the Globetrotters. The Globetrotters games were scripted, for lack of better terms. Ours are not. Ours are, once the ball leaves the hand, whatever happens, happens. We are doing amazing things on a baseball field. Trick plays is a big piece and component of our game. Quick pitching and working fast is a big component of our game. Additionally, not making people stay for 3, 4, 5 hours for a baseball game. We have a running time clock. It's 2 hours, and you see it running. It doesn't stop for anything other than if there's some sort of emergency. But that clock is rolling, so you know that when the game starts at 7, it's going to end at or around 9 o'clock, and then we do a big send-off with the fans afterwards. We sing "Stand By Me" with the fans. We do a big send-off, and you just had a full, positive-filled day with your fans, or with your family. Created unforgettable moments, and it's just a really amazing, happy event. And we're really fortunate that we're going to 18 major league stadiums this year. We're going to 3 NFL football stadiums, 1 college football stadium, and they're all going to be wildly sold out. And so we're really fortunate that this is really working, and that is essentially the essence of Banana Ball.
So the one thing that comes to mind with that is you just said you're going to be selling out football stadiums, baseball stadiums. How does that affect the trying to think of the right word? How does it affect the I can't think of the right word. The engagement. That's it. How does it affect the engagement between the players and the audience in a stadium that big?
Yeah. That's a great question. Last year, we played 6 major league stadiums, and one of the challenges Jesse gave us was we want the fan sitting in the very last seat in the upper deck to have as good of an experience as somebody sitting right field access. That's a challenging task, right?
Sure.
A lot of the show elements, a lot of the entertainment, incorporating the video board, incorporating elements that involve everybody is the number one thing. But additionally, what we do is we literally will send players all the way up on the upper deck with little roses to give to little girls or to give high fives to these fans. And we are still working it out, right? Like it's when you're in Yankee Stadium and there's 45,000 fans and wanting to create an unforgettable moment for every single one of those fans and actually kind of touching all of those fans, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
And we really have to work really, really hard because what we do not want to happen is for somebody to come to Yankee Stadium and say, yeah, I saw the Bananas, this is kind of cool, but man, I really couldn't see very much, or I didn't really get to meet any of the players. It was really kind of too big. And so that's a huge challenge and a responsibility that we have to make sure that every single one of those fans has an unforgettable time. The 85,000 fans that are going to come to Clemson University's football stadium. I mean, my goodness, the enormity of these football stadiums, right?
Yeah.
And the task that we have to make an unforgettable moment and make sure people don't say, nah, I'm going to try to see him in a smaller stadium. We don't want that. We are up for the task and the challenge. And I can tell you this entire last year and off season, we have been really working really, really hard about how we're going to make that fan in the upper deck, how we're going to make their time and experience at a Bananas game unforgettable. And so much so that they want to tell everybody about it and come back.
I mean, I would imagine, Because again, as you're talking, it's just going through my head that, okay, so you're going to send some, players up into the upper deck with roses and, all of this stuff. Well, doesn't that mean that you have to have a bigger roster than normal? Because they can't possibly go up there and get back down before the half inning is over.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges, and one of the things that we talked about is bringing on extra players just so we can deploy them up there. And we have a 25-man roster. We do have tons of entertainers. We have the Banana Nanas, which is our senior citizen dance team. We have our dad bod cheerleading squad, which is, as exactly what it sounds. Lots of cringe stuff happening there. But we have a whole bunch of elements of entertainment that can help spread through the crowds. But you're exactly right, Jimmy. We're going to have 9 guys on the field. We're going to have some pitchers getting ready to go in. So we're down to 7-8 players already, only 7-8 players. And we have entertainment happening on the field. We have things happening on the field. And so we're up for the challenge. We learned a lot last year. That's one thing that we do as an organization is we learn quickly, and we learn and then we adjust very quickly. And we know that people are looking for a reason to not enjoy a Bananas game, right? Our success, people are looking for a way to knock us down, and we don't want it to be that, man, they didn't have an opportunity to meet a player or have a good time at the stadium because it was just too big. So we really are working really hard to make sure that everybody has a fantastic time, no matter the size of the stadium.
Yeah, I could imagine that it's also a hell of a lot of work to stay new, I'll say, to have everything not be the same old thing, so that people don't say, yeah, well, I saw the Bananas. Yeah, they do the same thing next time. So that's got to be a ton of work for you guys.
You nailed that, too. We don't want people to say, I saw it, I don't need to see it again, right? So Banana Ball, the game of Banana Ball, that since whatever happens, that will always be changing. But the show element does need to change. And we've been lucky enough to have a really, really strong fan base that will follow us around. But we also understand we don't want to give them the same show. So our entertainment team, our broadcast team, our content team, they're constantly coming up with new ideas. And we operate a lot like Saturday Night Live does. Before the week of every game, every city, we have what's called OTTs. It's called over-the-top meetings. Over the top. What is going to be the over the top ideas that we are going to inject into this upcoming weekend? Is it going to be New York City related? Is it going to be Tampa related? What is it going to be? What is trending right now? Did something funny happen? Just kind of like what Saturday Night Live does. They get in that writer's room, they pitch their ideas, they pick what they're going to do, and then we go into execution mode to actually make it happen. We do about 20 to 25, maybe even more, new elements every single game.
Wow.
So we do that. Promos are very different. Music is very different. And we do that to keep it fresh. We have to. There are elements, there are traditions that will never change. Banana Baby will never change. Hey Baby, where we do our dance, will never change. There's elements that will never change. But there'll be 20 and 25, sometimes more new elements in every single show that we do. Some of them go great. Some of them are wild failures. But again, we adjust very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine you have to have your staples because, again, that's probably, and I don't know what they are, but they're probably the things that people know you for. So they want to see it. So they want to see that. Like, I've seen Jesse up on stilts walking around. Is that something that you do a lot?
So we have a player named Stilts. Okay. Jesse's never been on stilts.
Oh, that's not Jesse? I thought it was.
It's not Jesse, but I'm going to ask Jesse to do that tomorrow.
Don't tell him I said it.
Jesse will never get on stilts, I can promise you.
But, that type of thing, is that something, because, again, that's, anytime I think of the Savannah Bananas, that's what I think about, is a guy walking around the stadium on stilts.
So that guy, his name is Dakota Albritton. His nickname is Stilts. And quick story about Stilts. during that One City World Tour back in 2021, when Nate Fish and I were down in Savannah running tryouts, we were trying to assemble the best baseball players possible to play just a different set of rules. Stilts, Dakota comes in and he says, "Hey coach, I can hit and throw on stilts and also a unicycle. Do you want me to bring those out and show you?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, man." He goes to his truck, he puts on his stilts, and he comes walking in the stadium, and there's probably about 100 guys there, and everybody stops, right? It's like literally like seeing an alien. And he gets his bat, he walks into the batting cage, and he starts barreling up balls. It was unbelievable. And we get down to talking about rosters, and we get to stilts, and we're like, he's on stilts. He's not. There's better baseball players than him. And so we're really struggling with, we can't give him a roster spot. We can't take a roster spot away from a really good baseball player. And Jesse was very adamant. He said, "Listen, we need him. This is part of the show. This is going to be big. I can promise you, like, we need him on." And we were this close away to cutting Stilts, who is our most popular character that we have. Every time Stilts, I'm glad that I wasn't part of cutting him, but every time Stilts gets announced to come into pitch or hit, 80% of the people in attendance bring out their phones and they start videoing. It doesn't fail. He is literally the most popular person. And I got to tell you, he's been with us for 4 years, going on his 5th year now. He has gotten so much better. This past year, he had under a 1 ERA, and he throws every weekend.
Wow.
He had under a 1 ERA. He was hitting he was hitting 2 nights ago at Grayson Stadium with a drop 5 metal bat, and he almost hit a ball dead center out of the ballpark 390 feet.
Wow.
Yes. So he's come a long way, and so I can tell he gets so frustrated if he gives up a hit or if he gets struck out at the plate. He's so competitive. But what is really, really cool is he has proven himself to be a legitimate baseball player on a field that we have a former first-round draft pick on the Party Animals. We have probably 15, 16 former affiliate guys. We have All-Americans in college. We have very, very good baseball players. If the baseball's not good, this thing doesn't work. And so Stilts has really carved out. He's no longer a gimmick. He no longer is a gimmick. He's legitimate. And we are in prime season. We call it prime season instead of spring training right now. He threw his first full inning, and I think he got out of it in 12 pitches. It's pretty great.
Wow. That's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, the one thing that comes to mind, too, recently I was watching something where I saw an outfielder, the ball was hit out to him, and he did a flip. Was it a back flip or front? Whatever. He did a flip, and he caught the ball. I couldn't believe I was watching that.
That was D.R. Meadows, our center fielder. D.R. Meadows, 3 years ago, came into our summer series. He was a shortstop and second baseman in college, and really, really good. Those slots were already taken. So we said, "Hey, can you play outfield?" And he said, "Yeah." So we put him out to center field, and that's when we really started working on trick plays during the summer series. And he said, "Coach, I'm going to do a backflip and catch the ball like midair." And first of all, that's never been done. And when somebody says they're going to do it, we're like, good luck. Applaud them, right? And I forget where we were. It was either Savannah or Daytona where he landed his first backflip while catching the ball in midair. Made SportsCenter top 10. And every time I see any of our guys, we have so many guys doing that now. He set the standard and raised the bar on trick plays. Every time I see these guys do it, first of all, I can't do a backflip. I never have. But let alone catching a ball that's either coming straight down or going back and in nailing it and landing on your feet it's honestly one of the most amazing athletic feats I've ever seen on any field or any court.
Yeah.
Now, grasp this, Jimmy. He said, you know what? After he kept on landing his backflips and everything, he said, you know what? I'm going to plus the experience here now. I'm going to get rid of my glove. I'm going to do the backflip. And I'm going to catch it bare hand. And we're like, are you out of your mind? And he did it. He did it in Savannah. He's only done it one time, but he landed it in Savannah on his feet, SportsCenter top 10. Literally, I can promise you this. There are very few people in this world that if I hit a ball from home plate or I launch it in a hack attack and shoot it 380 feet, just standing there, that won't catch that ball.
I agree.
Now, do the backflip, catch it, and land on your feet. I don't know if there's going to be any greater athletic feat that I'll ever see. That is just truly, truly incredible.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I saw it and my jaw dropped. I was like, how the hell did he do that? Oh my
I don't know.
God.
You know, and the cool thing about our environment, Jimmy, is there's so much support and amongst the players. Nobody's kind of territorial and not rooting against, other people. They're all trying to push each other to be better and better and better so we can put on the best show, so we can do things on a baseball field that people have never seen before. And the level of trick plays, when 3 years ago we had one trick play, and then I think last year we had over 1,500 total trick plays across all teams. Wow. And the level of difficulty is just climbing and climbing and climbing. These guys are really, really amazing athletes, but more importantly, they're so focused on just putting on a great show for the fans, because without the fans, we're not here. Without the fans showing up, Yankee Stadium, Minute Maid Park, football stadiums, we don't exist.
Yeah.
And so that is something we take very, very seriously. We really care about it. We truly do. We just don't preach it. In fact, the name of our company is Fans First Entertainment. Okay. Our motto is Fans First, Entertain Always. Yeah. And so we live it, breathe it every day. We ask, when we make a decision in our company, we ask one question: is this best for the fans? Whatever it is. And if we say no, then we don't make that decision. We move on. If we say, yeah, this is best for the fans, even if it's going to cost the company more money, even if it's going to cause us to do a little bit more work, we will do that. We will do the unscalable and make it scalable. So one thing they used to do is every single person that bought a ticket will get a phone call. Everybody who bought a ticket will get a phone call from somebody in our front office and say, hey, thanks for buying a ticket. We still do that on a smaller scale with our merchandise sales, but we care about the fans. Our players care about the fans, and we want to do nothing but put on the best show that the world has ever seen.
Well, you're doing a good job of it, I'll tell you that. Something that you had mentioned that popped in my head a while ago, so I'm glad you brought it up. Your players, your roster, it has to be different selecting those players than it is in any other any other baseball environment. It has to be different because of what you said. They're all pulling for each other. They're all helping each other. But I do believe that, at high-level college, Major League Baseball, there's a lot of egos involved, and, I can't see everybody pulling for everybody. So, your world has to be different in that aspect. Tell me about it.
Yeah, we play a different style of baseball, and with our company being called Fans First Entertainment, it starts by, if you're a good baseball player, that's just one of four things that you need to bring to the table. We have no problem getting good baseball players, but we need good people who literally will connect with fans online, in person, and put the fans first at all times. And so that's usually what gets a lot of people gone, right? It's, when you tell a player, hey, you got to sign autographs before the game, you got to be fans first, we may send you up into the crowd, and then you got to sign autographs after the game, they may be like, I don't want to do that. And so they got to be a great baseball player. They got to be fans first through and through. They got to have a social connection. So they got to have some sort of online presence or be willing to grow their online presence, because the more people that we can connect with, the better we can lift up this entire organization. So we are on a quest to create 1 billion fans. And so that takes everybody. It's not just Jesse's responsibility or my responsibility. It's all the players. So they need to have a strong interest in growing that online presence. Additionally, culture is number one. Culture is so important to our organization that we've let people go that just kind of don't jive with us, that are kind of against the grain. We've let go of excellent baseball players. We've let go guys that have been great baseball players and really good on socials, but from a culture standpoint, or the fans first, was lacking. And we don't have time to try to rehab those situations, so we move on from those guys. Yeah. I can tell you that it usually takes about a year for a player to get into our system and really kind of get up to speed, but we're seeing that time kind of drop more and more and more as our players are recruiting other players to come into the fold, right? They're able to communicate their experience to their buddy who they played with and tell it to them straight. They're going to say, hey, listen, this isn't going to be just baseball. You're not going to be able to hide in the batting cage and hide in the locker room. You're going to have to do all of these things. And so if somebody understands that, we already checked a bunch of boxes that they're up for this task. But then they got to bring a whole nother level of play. They got to do things on a baseball field that we've never seen before. Sure. We're not looking for just routine plays. Yeah, you got to make that. You got to make outstanding plays, but you got to bring trick plays. You got to bring some entertainment elements and show quality elements, kind of like WWE does, yeah. Right? Those big personalities. And so our recruiting process is a little different than just saying that guy's got the tools. Oh, I like that lefty with a lot of movement. I like this guy, moves well. Sure, those things are a factor and a very important factor, but it's just one of a much larger rubric that we follow to identify players to bring them into our organization.
Yeah, I mean, and in that aspect, what you mentioned about the culture and having to let guys go, that part, I deal with that at the high school level. There are guys that I feel like are not going to help the team. They're not going to be part of the culture. I part ways with them, and it's not trying to be mean, but it's the way it is. So that's no different than anything else. But the other stuff, yeah, the trick plays and stuff, and those guys are special baseball players because not everybody could make in other words, that whole menu that you have there where you have to have talent, number one. You have to be able to make trick plays. You have to fit into the culture where you have to be able to entertain people and interact with people. Those are a lot of things that are difficult to find in one person.
They are. They're out there, though. It's just, where is that player in their career? Where are they? Are they still trying to make it to affiliate ball or to major leagues? Or has that kind of passed them by and now they see, oh, a new door is open and it may extend my career. Man, I really like entertaining and I love baseball and this is perfect for me. So they are out there. There's not millions of them, but they're all out there, and so it's getting harder and harder to kind of break in with us. But yeah, we have a whole team of coaches and recruiting staff that is trying to find the next great banana ball player. Yeah. And it's hard, but they are out there, and if we avail of ourselves and we continue to do the work and educate people about what banana ball is and what the Savannah Bananas are, there's going to be a lot more people who see it as a legitimate way to make a great living, realize their dream of playing in major league stadiums, sold out major league stadiums, and being able to entertain and really just kind of create unforgettable moments. At the core of it, you got to be a really good person. You have to really care about people. And there's a lot of people out there like that. Now, can they play at a high level and do these trick plays and entertain? Yeah, those are the skills that you can work on.
That's true.
Right? True. And so, our players, none of our players did trick plays when they were in college or in pro ball, but they set an intention to figure out a new way to do trick plays. They start small by crawling, and then they stand up, and then they walk, and then they jog, and then they run, and then they sprint.
Sure.
right? It's development. It's no different than developing an athlete in traditional baseball.
Yeah.
It's just you have to give them an environment to succeed. You have to surround them with honest and encouraging people that are going to help them succeed. And again, we can't have guys fighting, and backstabbing for playing time, because that's gonna kill that culture and kill that environment. And we're really fortunate to have such a great environment. I'm so proud of it this year. The guys here in Savannah, we have the Party Animals and the Bananas down here right now, and things are going great because everybody loves what we're trying to achieve, and they're trying to achieve it together.
Yeah. So now, like the Party Animals, what's the other one? The Firemen.
Yep.
And
so we have 4 teams right now, 4 full-time 4 teams. We have Savannah Bananas, we have the Party Animals, we have the Firefighters, and then we just introduced our newest team, the Texas Tailgaters. All 4 of those teams will be based out of Savannah this year. And then in 2026, we're going to start league play, and you might start seeing some teams isolated in regions. Certainly Texas, we're looking at moving those guys and making all of Texas their home state. All of the stadiums that they play, the 12 to 15 stadiums that are in Texas, when they play there, that's their home stadium. So those are our 4 teams. And we have a 5th team, which is a development team called the Visitors. They're only in town for about a month, but it's a way for us to get kids who just graduated high school or just graduated college, who didn't get drafted, or guys that may have gotten released along the way, to have a place to put them, to get a second look at them, and have them kind of in the chamber for 2026 roster spots.
Almost kind of like a minor league.
Yep, like a development team. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here's the interesting thing, because I remember a lot of conversation, when I first started hearing about the Bananas, and, people saying it's garbage and, it's not real baseball and this and that. And, as time has gone by, I think that most people are starting to realize that it is real baseball. It's just a different twist on real baseball. So how do you balance that entertainment portion of it with keeping the integrity of the game?
Yeah. So we're creating a new sport called banana ball. And so traditional baseball and maintaining the integrity of baseball is not our goal, but we do need to maintain the integrity of competition and realness. And so that is the single best question that anybody could ask, is how do you kind of manage the baseball, banana ball aspect and the entertainment? And quite frankly, entertainment is also the trick plays and the working fast and some of these competitive elements. And so we can work on that. We can educate our players. The entertainment piece, if we need a player to do a long form dance walk up before he gets to the plate, and that might be, that's kind of, diminishing baseball. Yeah, maybe, but that's entertaining. And so the balance is really in the preparation and making sure that these guys understand what they can do with the trick plays, with the quick pitching, with unique elements to satisfy both prongs, playing at a high level and entertaining. And so it starts with players understanding what this whole thing is about and being all in, quite frankly. And then once you have them all in, it's a lot easier to ask them, hey, you know what? You're going to play, and we need you to compete, and never not compete. Like, never let down your guard, but don't just play traditional baseball. Don't just be normal, because that's boring. And so we get the right guys who are all in. It's very easy to get them to mix competitiveness and entertainment. The one thing that I have a tug of war with our entertainment team is there's a running clock. And so if there's a lot of if there's a lot of entertainment aspects, it's chipping away at actual playing the game of banana ball. We have a great relationship. Everybody in our organization gets along great, but with our entertainment team, they understand what we're trying to achieve, and we understand what they're trying to achieve, and we work really well together. And we're starting to crack the code a little bit on how much time we're going to use and how much time they're going to use. And we hope that something doesn't go wildly wrong, like 10-run innings to, have these big, huge, long innings. But, we're learning a lot, but we have a pretty good pulse on how to balance that entertainment and that competitiveness on the field.
Yeah, because I could see that being a little tough because, again, in the beginning, I would say not as much now, but in the beginning when you first started hearing about the Bananas, like I had mentioned, the people are like, oh, it's not real baseball and this and that. And now I think that more people are well, obviously, I mean, you have a huge waiting list of people coming, that want to come and see. So people are taking to it. So, yeah, that to me, I always wondered, how do you do that, and still have that baseball feel, even though there is the entertainment. So that's great. I want to just jump back a little bit because this show is really, for youth baseball parents, coaches, and stuff like that. So I'm going to take you back a little bit to your coaching youth players days, okay? One of the things I believe in, this kind of ties in with the Bananas a little bit. I don't take myself too seriously when I'm coaching my players. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's important for coaches not to take themselves too seriously?
Absolutely. There's so many things out there, and I see these TikToks, or not TikToks, things come up on Twitter, and it's like, hey, coach, it's a 9U game. There's no World Series to win. There's no college scholarships. There's no college scouts, right? As a coach, I firmly believe you can't take things too seriously. Now, we can take things, we can be focused and we can be disciplined. We don't want things to turn into a birthday party.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's about helping players enjoy the game and love the game and keep them in the game long enough so they can get to that big field and they finally hit puberty and they start developing into a man or a woman, and they realize, you know what? I really love this, as opposed to at the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year level, just washing out of the game because that coach didn't make it fun. They yelled at me. My teammates yelled at me. It was too serious. It was too professionalized. It was too big. It's too expensive. It's too many obligations, whatever it was. I just didn't have fun, so I'm going to go do something that's fun, right? And so the one thing that we do at the Bananas, and I do want to talk about our youth initiative here in a second, but one of the things that we tell our players is when we play a game, you have 10, 15, 20, 40,000 fans. Half of them are children watching your every move. And they will emulate you, just like I emulated Ken Griffey Jr. and George Brett Swing and whomever else, right?
Yeah.
They're going to emulate you. And so how you carry yourself on the field, whether you like it or not, they are going to model that behavior. So we keep it in the front of their mind that you are a role model. You really are. You are on this stage. And so how do you want to be perceived? Because guess what? You're probably going to go out to the plaza and you might run into that mom or dad and that little kid. And if you did something on a baseball field that didn't bode well, you actually might hear about it. We don't want that. We want the complete opposite.
Right.
We want that mom, dad to say, Jimmy, hey, here's Brett Helton. You see him smiling on the mound even when he got a hit. It wasn't the end of the world, was it? Was it, Brett? No, it wasn't the end of the world. Just get up there and you just keep competing, buddy. Yeah. And so it is really, really important for coaches to help players and parents, young players, keep the perspective. This is about fun. This is about enjoyment. This is about growing. This is about life dreams. This is about relationships. And if you keep your focus on that, sure, they still need to learn how to throw and hit and bunt and run bases, all those things. Yeah. But if we can keep our focus on what's really, really important on a developing child, which is their happiness, their sanity, their safety, right? Yeah. Then the world's going to be better. The problem right now with youth baseball is, man, there's a lot of people out there that say, if your kid doesn't sign up for my organization, he does year round with me at the age of 9, man, I don't know if we're going to be able to, help your kid anymore. Understand that all these other kids in Texas and Florida and California are doing this, and you need your kid to have that step up. Man, I tell you what, that your kid is only going to go as far as your child wants to go in anything in life, not just baseball, basketball, or school. If they love it and enjoy it and have a deep, deep interest, and they find some sort of emotional connection that feeds them, they're going to go as far as they want to go. So feed your kid happiness and joy, and surround them with honest but encouraging coaches. Honest, who are going to say, hey, act appropriate. We're at a baseball game right now. We're not at a birthday party. Okay, so we're going to stay focused. We're going to know how many outs there are. We're going to cheer for our team. But also encouraging. Hey, man, you know what? I don't care that you went 0 for 4. Those were great swings, man. And guess what? You get another at-bat later this inning, or you get to come back tomorrow or next week. And that's okay. That's okay. Don't be so focused on the winning, the losing, the outcomes. Outcomes matter. It really does. But it is such a small thing to kind of gauge, did you learn? Are you getting better? Just like math tests. So, yes, act appropriate for the situation, but understand and keep the perspective that your job as a coach, your job as a parent, is to make sure that these children are so fired up to come to their sport and their practice, and you have to pull them away from practice when it's over. That's when you as a parent, you as a coach, you as an organization know that you're onto something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest compliments that I've ever gotten from a player, it was the end of last season. Kid that I coached for several years in travel ball, and I was lucky enough to be his coach for his senior year in high school. When he left, I don't know, I think it was at the end of the season. I forgot, we were texting back and forth. And, I know it was right before he left to go to his college. I said, listen, good luck. I know you're going to do well. If you ever need anything, just reach out to me. I'm here for you. Okay, Coach, thanks very much. He goes, listen, I just want to let you know that out of all of the coaches that have coached me, he said, I can honestly say I had the most fun with you. I got tears in my eyes when he said that.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make it fun.
Yeah. That's the highest compliment. That's the highest compliment you can receive as a coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And again, it's not about just rolling the balls out there and let the kids do what they want to do, but making a very technical game fun.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I'm really proud of that we are starting up is our Youth Banana Ball initiative. Last year in Cleveland, we held our first ever Youth Banana Ball tournament in Cleveland. We had about 900 kids all participating in banana ball. And I got to tell you, some of the feedback we received from families was something along the lines of, my kids' team went 0 for 4 and they got mercy to every single game. And my kid had a smile on his face, met so many friends, and had the best time of his life on a baseball field. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We hear that time and time again. All we did was we allowed kids to be kids. We gave the game back to the kids. We had to corral them. We had to contain them a little bit, but we gave them some cool rules. We gave them the freedom and the permission to have amazing fun walk-ups. They weren't going to get yelled at the umpire, get in the box, son. We don't do that here. The umpires dance along with them, right? You can do dances with your teammates. You can do celebrations and not get ridiculed by the opposing team or your coach or the umpires, right? And we really just allowed kids to be kids while playing a game that they love. And we're really fortunate to bring that youth initiative and host a tournament this year in Savannah, July 9th through the 13th. And we're going to have 768 players out there. It's all individual registrations, age divisions 9U through 12U. And it's going to be an all-in experience. So on Wednesday, you come into Savannah and you're going to have a banana ball practice with your coach, and a banana ball player, whether it's Billy Roy, our catcher, or Coach Rack, or Party Animal, and you're going to learn banana ball from a professional player with your new teammates. You're going to learn how to play, and then you're going to come back Thursday and Friday and play pool play, okay? But we're going to have the craziest walk-ups. So there'll be prizes for craziest walk-ups, craziest celebrations, best trick plays, all of these cool elements that the pro players are doing just down the street at Grayson Stadium. Those players are going to be able to come and watch a live game, watch the Bananas play the visitors. We're going to have other elements where they might be able to come to batting practice, or they may have players just drop by their games and coach third base. The championship games will be played at Grayson Stadium on the exact same field where they just saw their heroes play. And the whole idea is to continue growing this game of banana ball, continuing to make baseball fun, but giving kids a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to learn how to enjoy this game of baseball a little bit more and maybe keep them in the game. I mean, Jimmy, we're hearing from parents that kids are choosing to not play travel baseball anymore and playing rec ball and banana ball with their friends because why? It's more fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. I don't want the game of baseball to suffer, but man, let's learn something from what we're doing. Yeah, we're not giving them Kool-Aid and having them drink it, man. We're just letting kids be kids.
Yeah.
And we're supporting them and encouraging them and allowing them the freedom to express themselves on a baseball field with new friends and new games and cool opportunities. And we're really excited for that. And hopefully in 2026, we branch out more and we start having regional tournaments around the country to then feed to a national championship in Savannah. There's a lot of big things at play, but in Savannah this year, I'm so fired up for this banana ball tournament. We still have open slots, but yeah, man, it's going to be amazing, Jimmy. We're so fired up for it.
You just got me fired up for it.
Come on down.
I love that. I mean, that is fantastic. You know, the biggest thing that hurts youth baseball is they put too much pressure on these kids. 6-year-old tournaments? Are you out of your mind?
I saw that the AU rankings just came out on Twitter. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, what are we doing? I mean, let them have fun. But look, I think what you're doing is fantastic with the youth stuff, and obviously what you're doing with the Bananas. And I got to tell you, Adam, this was fantastic. I am so glad to have you come on tonight. This was a treat.
Oh man, thanks so much, Jimmy. I love talking with guys who have a deep passion and for this game. And hey, we're coming to New York this year. We're playing 2 games at that stadium that's behind you. That's the old stadium, but yeah, we're playing 2 games at Yankee Stadium this year, September 13th and 14th, I believe. So, okay. Hope to see you out there. Let me. I got to get you some tickets.
I was going to say, I can guarantee you I will be there. Yeah. So we'll keep in touch. And like I said, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure meeting you out in Washington. And, we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely, Jimmy. Keep fighting the good fight, buddy.
You too. Well, I don't know about you, but after listening to Adam, I'm excited about going to see the Savannah Bananas play. They bring a different brand of baseball. And let's face it, I've heard it a million times, and I'm sure all of you have too, that people feel that, or a lot of people feel that at the major league level, the game has gotten kind of boring. So I know me, I have a hard time watching major league games. I prefer to watch college baseball. It's more exciting. There's more action. There's more things going on. And, with the Savannah Bananas, yes, it's entertainment, but it's also good baseball. These guys that play for the Bananas and the other teams are really good baseball players. They just happen to have what I see as another talent where they're able to entertain also. I love the idea of bringing the family environment back to the baseball game where, like Adam said, mom, dad, and the kids can go to a baseball game and have a lot of fun. So, I urge everyone out there, follow the Savannah Bananas. Check them out. If they're coming, to a town near you, go see them. I mean, you're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a great experience. So, if you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Visit the website at thectbshow.net. Listen to your favorite episodes and please leave us a review. You can also reach out to the show on social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, please drop us an email at clearingthebases@gmail.com. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content and reach more people in the baseball community just like you. And also, let me know if you'd like to be a guest. Until then, coaches and players, keep practicing, stay positive, and remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.